Nation. This is the Raider Nation Podcast, and I'm your host, Raider Greg. And yes, this is a podcast on a week that we do not have a game. So there's notes and quotes, there's some injuries, and there's some events going on with the Raiders that I thought I should share with you, along with a little article I found about the Chargers that's kind of interesting, and some cap situations that we'll be looking forward to, I don't think so, next season. So we'll talk a little bit about Warren Sapp, Ted Washington, Derek Burgess, Randy Moss, Adam Treu. What else we'll talk about here? Danny Clark. We'll just talk a little bit about what the team's been going through and some changes since the team had a little chance to talk to reporters on their bye week. The happiest NFL player in a 1-3 team has to be Warren Sapp. The defense have gone from soggy crackers to at least some type of solid bread, and the QB killer, which would be Warren Sapp, is back in the saddle again. If you haven't noticed, Raider fans, our defense, which last year was 30th in the league yards allowed and 31st in points allowed, is much improved, and we've seen this in the last games, actually from the very first game of the season. And the game against the Dallas Cowboys was no exception. The defense came up huge, and that's an obvious comment. So Warren Sapp is back. He's back in the 4-3, and he's glad we're there. Well, no doubt, because I talked about this in a podcast, a couple of them earlier in the season. I'm glad Rod Ryan has changed the scheme because the Oakland Raiders needed to be a 4-3 defense. A year ago, it was torture for Warren. Something happened in Houston that kind of flipped him out, and that's on the 5-11 season we had last year. He went in to get David Carr, the quarterback there, and David Carr told him that he should be playing as a tackle and not a defensive end. And you know what? Warren Sapp was kind of laughing about that, but he knew it was right. He'd rather hear the guy say that he was ugly, is a quote that he said, because it was very apparent that he didn't do a very good job on that end. So Warren Sapp goes on to say that it was the hardest year of his life, and there was no doubt about it. He said it was very humbling. He was a fish out of water. Those are quotes. Things are different now. He's alongside nose tackle Ted Washington. He's producing and answering critics who said he was out and he was down and he was done for his life and done for the season. I can see Warren Sapp here is playing a much better game. He's getting a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. And he himself says now it's a pleasure to come to work every day because he works on his stuff, the stuff he knows. He sharpens his knife, as he says. And Warren Sapp says he's going to get somebody cut. And I don't mean cut off the team. He's ready to go in there and cut some quarterbacks up. Life for Sapp changed when the Raiders decided to go from a 3-4, which didn't work very well at all, to a 4-3. The Raiders noticed and hired Keith Millard, the former Minnesota sack specialist, to help. And signed Philadelphia Rush and Derek Burgess, which was a great pickup for the Oakland Raiders. He took Sapp's spot on the outside, and Derek Burgess has been very productive, and the defense actually has gelled very well. Ted Washington, Bobby Hamilton, nobody was familiar with the 3-4, and the four linebackers we had, God bless them, they didn't have the strength of the team, so it wasn't happening. That's the basic principle of football. You play to your strengths, and we didn't do that. Didn't do it last year. That's what he's talking about. The thing with lining up in our base 4-3 defense is you know what you're in for and how to play it. No knocking the 3-4 because it works that way for some people, but it's just not Warren Sapp's strength. That's what he's talking about. Warren Sapp says the defense is playing much better and hasn't reached top speed yet. And I can see that. Can't you see that? I can see it, Raider fans. I can see that the defense is starting to gel, like I said, gelling like a felon. They're getting good results every week, and the W is what you're looking for. But we are better against the run and mounting a pass rush much better. And the line just charging in and getting pressure. The secondary is doing a much better job of covering people, and you'll see a much better and much improved defense as the season goes on. And I have to agree with them. I have to agree with SAPP that this defense has gotten better and better, and you can see that even the coverage of the Cowboys game was far improved. Now, let's talk about the Raiders coming off a bye week. Over the last 11 seasons, they have won 8 times prior to their bye week. Coming out of a bye week, they have a 6-2 record when following their bye week. Now, that's pretty good. It gives us, all these statistics are very Raider-based, as all you fans know, but it gives us a chance. We're getting better and better. Their post-bye opponent again this year is San Diego, and again the game is being played in Oakland. Last year, Oakland played its worst game of the year in San Diego, losing 42-14, 2 weeks before the bye. And the bye, they showed enough improvement to push the Chargers to the wire on a 23-17 loss. So we really worked the Chargers over, and let's not forget, the Chargers lost to the Cowboys in their game against the Cowboys, and we beat the Cowboys. So it's all a matter of players and how you play. And they're coming to the black hole, and a lot of people talking about how tough it's going to be. The Raiders can beat the Chargers. They beat the Cowboys, and they can certainly beat the Chargers at home. Don't let this garbage, all the media is going off on how they beat the Patriots, defending world champions. Now the Chargers are lining up to be a dynasty. I don't know where these guys come from. One team comes up and they look pretty good one week, and all of a sudden they're a dynasty. Well, that's horse crap. That doesn't happen that way. But, since they're playing the Oakland Raiders, a lot of these media buffs, they love to rub it in because they think we're going to lose. Well, I think we're going to win. I think we have an excellent opportunity to win. We're going to be playing at home, and the home game, we can do better. As long as we don't get 4 field goals, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Danny Clark, our middle linebacker, has taken the job of the conscience of the Raider defense and started the offseason with inspired speech telling teammates either get with the program or get the hell out. Now, in some teams, that's risky because people fall away and people shun you in the locker room. But Clark said he didn't care. He knew that the team was there to do a better job, and these guys worked a lot off season together, and he knew he had the character of the team, and he knew he could push them that way, and that's what he's saying. The Raiders has had trouble in recent years drafting high, but we got defensive lineman Tommy Kelly as an undrafted free agent last year. We hit the jackpot. Tommy Kelly is awesome. Kelly's tackle of Dallas's Julius Jones for a 2-yard loss in the closing 2 minutes of the game made a huge difference in the game. Now, Norv Turner, not my favorite guy, as you well know, Raider fans, always paints a positive picture, and he goes on to say about how Tommy Kelly is a terrific athlete, and we're still working to make him a better athlete. He says about everybody, so I don't put a lot of water into Turner's bucket because he really doesn't come off as an honest guy saying exactly how things are. Now, another thing, here's another story here. According to TV website, Randy Moss is fighting re-entry into the NFL's drug program after his comments on HBO about marijuana use. Well, no doubt. No doubt he's fighting. He should be fighting because, the reporter goaded him into saying that because, that's what they do. And as soon as he heard it, he thought, oh, gosh, Pulitzer surprise, I'm sure. These reporters just kill me. They've never been our friends. I don't understand. There are very few reporters, sports writers, that are Raiders friends. And so, I'm not surprised that we don't get a whole lot of playtime on TV. But we get good Bay Area. Actually, it's been pretty good this season with the Bay Area after the game TV program on Monday nights. They actually have done pretty well. That's because the 49ers suck, and they don't have anything else to talk about. So the Raiders are doing better, and they'll continue to do better, and we'll get some good positive press, thank goodness. Thank goodness the Niners aren't doing any good either because I love that. Okay, here we go. Anyways, about Randy Moss running the drug program, I wouldn't doubt that they try to make him do it. I hope his attorney puts the brakes on that action because they shouldn't, just out of a comment. They should test just like anybody else, and I think if they try to get him into the program, I think he should sue him. without a doubt. Because without evidence, except for what he said, give me a break. Move on. Let's get going. Tagliabue, go find someone else to pick on. What a geek. I can't handle him either. Okay, what else we have here? Okay, by the numbers, 1,648 penalty yards. The Raiders are on a pace to rack up this year. That's 1,648 yards. The league record is 1,304 yards set by Kansas City in 1998. Well, I sure as heck hope we don't come anywhere near that number. But we still have a lot of trouble with penalties, and we're going to have to watch that, no doubt. I hope Norv Turner gets enough sack to start chewing some guys out about it, because that's the only way it's going to get handled. Okay, here's a quote. I wound up visiting his wife more than with him because I could not get a straight answer out of him. That's Adam Treu describing the phone call with teammate Jake Grove to express his concern over his knee injury, which resulted in arthroscopic surgery. Now, Jake Grove's supposed to come back in a 2-game situation. Norv Turner doesn't think he's going to be back for at least 4 games. I don't think he's going to come back that soon either. But thank goodness we got Adam Treu because he's a pretty doggone good center. And with the help on either side, I think we'll be okay. Shane Lechler is right on time with an NFL average of 4.9. But it's only good enough for him to rank 6th in the league in punting through the first 4 weeks. I think that's going to fade away because he's very consistent, and Shane Lechler is money. He's a great kicker. We really scored when we got him, folks. Big time. Huge time. So Lamont Jordan went from a 789-yard pace for the season to 1,096 with his 126-yard performance against Dallas. Lamont's working better. We got to have him working much better next Sunday. Not this Sunday, but next Sunday. Derek Burgess has 3 sacks after 4 games. He's just one off the team's whole high water mark a year ago. Tommy Kelly's 4 sacks all year long last year. So that goes to show you, Raider fans, how anemic our defense was last year and the improvements that we've had so far this year. The pressure on the quarterback has been awesome. I don't need to go too far into that. Kerry Collins, once again. Third down passer rating of 65.7%, 23rd in the league. That is anemic. And the reason he's not getting those third conversions is because he's not taking any chances. Yes, he has had no interceptions. I could care less. I know that a lot of Raider fans are not going to like what I'm going to say right now, but on the Raider Take, it's on there, and I agree 100%, and I've said it before. If you're not taking chances, then you're not making touchdowns. You need to take the opportunities you have and throw the ball. Because if you're going to play safe football, you should be playing flag football, because you should have no business in the NFL. This is an aggressive team. I'm sure Al Davis isn't happy with Kerry Collins' comment about how happy he is with not throwing interceptions and how he's constantly thinking about the interception factor. Well, I think that's horse crap. Kerry Collins better stop thinking about interceptions and start thinking about receptions and start throwing that ball to some people and take some chances, because we're not getting touchdowns, i.e. 4 kicks this last game against the Cowboys. 4 field goals. We should have had touchdowns, at least on 3 of them. Please, Collins, have some sack and take a chance, because if you don't, we ain't going to get no points. We've got some of the most prolific wide receivers in the league, and we're not doing anything with them. That's garbage. I could go on with Collins for a while, but just the mere fact that he's happy at the fact of his non-interception numbers just blows me away. He should be disgusted with his lack of getting the ball to all those open receivers. And I saw him on this interview, and he seemed very pleased with himself, wrapped himself around this no interception situation, and it made me sick to my stomach, because I'm not the only Raider fan out there that sees how many receivers are open, and he doesn't throw the ball there. He throws the ball out of bounds. Hey, it's safe. It's very safe. Hey, 4 field goals. Carey, that's all I got to say. 4 field goals. Grow another eyeball with you, because that's all you're going to have to. It's what you're going to have to do in order to see the receivers, because you're not checking down the second and third man. You're looking to the first guy, and the second guy looks like an interception. The third guy looks like an interception. I don't care if he has nobody on him. That's what you're thinking. I don't want to throw an interception. Forget it, Collins. Just forget it. You better just start throwing the ball. That's all I want to see. I want to see you throwing the football. And I don't want to see it being thrown out of bounds. I don't think I've ever seen a ball thrown out of bounds so many times in a Raider football game. Enough about Collins. I could go on forever. And I don't even talk to me about Norv Turner, because the shame here is that they've got a team. They have a team. They have some of the more prolific wide receivers in the league. But, hey, there's no interceptions. End of story. Chargers are primed for long success. They beat the Patriots soundly. Well, big deal. They got racked by the Cowboys. Nice talking to you. And we blew the Cowboys out on both sides of the ball, with the exception of the 4 field goals. With the AFC dominated for years by the Raiders, Chiefs, and Broncos, the AFC West now is poised to have the Bolts be the champions for some years to come. And here's what this article is talking about. I read this article, and they've got a point. However, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. But here's where I saw it earlier this season. I did make a note of it on a podcast I mentioned earlier. They're $25.5 million under the cap this season. $25.5 million under. And they've got all their players. That's pretty strong when they can go out and get some more people. Next season, the Chargers might be the team to beat. This season, they have an opportunity to get whooped by the Raiders on Sunday. But when you're thinking about cap room, they have a lot of room to grow their team next season. And, that's what they're saying. They, whoever they are, all the press, all our loving press that we have in the nation here. And they also go on to say about the Raiders having the worst position with $120.8 million against next year's cap. Well, that's about $30 million over the cap, give or take $1 million. The cap sits around $90 million. So, we're going to have to shed some blood next season and drop some people that aren't producing. That's going to be a shame, because we have a pretty doggone good team this year, and I'd hate to see anybody leave the team. But it's going to be hard to keep everybody. But once again, I will say this. The Raiders have been magic with the cap, and they will continue to be magic with the cap. Al Davis is no dummy, and he doesn't have dummies working for him when it comes to this area. And him and Jerry Jones have always done fabulous things with the cap. So that's what it looks like next year for the Raiders. It looks like we're going to have to do some real crunching, number crunching that is, to keep this team together. This leads me to, we don't have time to waste this season. Norv, we don't have time to waste this season. So the gentlemen on the team understand it. They know it. They see it too. I think that's what's holding this team together, is the team, not the coach, and certainly not the coaching staff there, with the exception of Rob Ryan, who's doing a fabulous job on the defense. But on the offensive side of the ball, I would have to say the team itself is perpetuating its own success, and it will continue to do so. And I believe that after the bye, when everyone's rested, we have San Diego coming into town. We can beat this team. Hey, if Dallas can beat this team, we can beat this team. We can beat them because we can put pressure on them like nobody's business. The Broncos beat this team. You know how they beat this team? They had Drew Brees with grass hanging out of his face mask all day, and he was absolutely punked. He had nowhere to go, and LT had a decent day, but that was the end of it. Drew Brees, he was running for his life all day long. The Raiders can do that to him. that front four we have can annihilate Drew Brees, and I'm hoping to see that. I'll get to another pregame show here in probably another couple days, 2 or 3 days, probably after Sunday. So look forward to that, Raider fans. I'll be giving you the pregame pump up, and we'll get some stats together for you. But I just want to throw that out there that the Chargers got beat by the Cowboys and the Broncos. The Raiders can beat these guys at home. Our team is ready. It's primed. It's gelling. Let's go get them. Everybody have a good evening. I am out.